Hey guys, it's Monica at Academic Phoenix Plus, and welcome to the next part of this tutorial where we completed the wine barrel and we are ready to add a little bit more detail and then export it into Maya. So let's go ahead and get started. In the last tutorial, we went over a lot of stuff. Let's go ahead and have some fun again with a fill layer. This time I want the color to be a little bit in the darker side, a little deep dark red. Something like that. I can always change it later. I don't need any height, so I'm leaving it as is. The roughness should probably be kind of rough. This is supposed to be drip and no metallic. This is not going to have any height, so I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to turn off metalness, and also, well, it's looking really, needs to be rougher. It's looking really metallic. I'm not sure why. Oh, I'll fix it later. Let's make this slightly darker. We'll play with it. Okay. Now, this is supposed to be a drip mask, so I'm going to call this drip. And we want it to be underneath our metal. So I'm going to drag this and put it between the wood and the metal. So I'm going to right-click on this, add a black mask. And I'm going to go to the fun stuff here that makes Substance so famous is the particles. So we have several things we can use. Personally, I like bleak. It's pretty direct. And I'm going to go in here. I might need to change some of the attributes just so I can get it to be a little bit bigger. You can always increase the spawn spread so it kind of drips a little bit like that. There's some sensitivity aspects to it. Lots of fun with the particles. And let's start with that. So just by messing around, let's click underneath our metal and then we can drag. Whoops, did not mean to do that. You can hold down shift and that will snap it. Let's see, are we getting something cool here? Let's go ahead and drag some particles in here. And I'm trying to get some nice leaks. The wood's already pretty dark as is, but we still want the leak to affect underneath the metal. Now, if we wanted to, we can change the color to be a little bit red. So I have to click on this part right here. And we can make it slightly red so it's looking like it's picking up some of that rust. It's up to you if that's what you want to do. But we can go in and start creating our own drip mask. Whoops, let me go back into my map, grab maybe a heavier leak, and then try that and see what we get. That's kind of nice. Still very mild, but getting some nice effect here. Let me reduce the spread here. Okay, let's play with that. So fairly quickly, we can create a nice little drip mask. So this is going to take me a second because I have to go in and make sure that everything is covered in some sort of drip. So it has to remain pretty consistent. I don't know. It's really fun to watch. I don't know about you, but it's super fun. We can always try heavy liquid and see what we get. Oof. That's a lot. Might work better for something else, but let's stick back to this. So let's go ahead and my computer's starting to slow down because this is getting kind of heavy. I better save. So once my computer catches up, I'm going to save this. Don't forget to save your progress, please. And let's go ahead and bring this back. Maybe be a little bit more careful. I guess I'm asking a lot from my computer to be doing all of this. Though I feel like it should handle it. It's a pretty good machine. So, and I built it a long time ago, which was interesting because I've never done that before. So it was kind of fun to build it. Because I really wanted a heavy machine that would last me for years. So now I think it's time for a little bit of, I'm going to start looking into upgrading pieces. But that's for a different conversation altogether. Starting to look like, well, it's almost looking like wine leaked all over this thing, which is kind of funny. I'm going to change that into something else. Let me go back. Let's make this, so there we go. That looks better. All right. Oops. Go back to this. Thank you, Substance, for telling me that I am wrong. Just go through here and leak away. Again, I can kind of mess around with the attributes, but right now I'm trying to keep it kind of even. But in the previous tutorial with Photoshop, we just used a drip layer that we found and just added it in here. This one's a little bit more realistic because it actually leaks. I get heavy liquid on the bottom. Might be better results if I use something a little stronger. What's really neat about Substance and why it became so famous and popular, it's because these particles actually are impacted by the normal map. Oh boy, that was probably too much. I'm undoing. Okay, let's do this one. So it actually impacts, if I go up here, for example, you'll notice that the leak is not as strong because it actually looks at the normal map and reacts to it, which is really powerful. Just the bottom now. I'm trying to give it a little bit of that leak or further down so it's not so evenly distributed, because again, the bane of 3D is that things look even and people recognize patterns a mile away, and guess what computers are really good at? Patterns. So it becomes a problem with when we're starting to create these type of things. So you got to make sure that you think about it in kind of like, how do you break it up? That's why reference is really important. We want to make sure that, we take a look at something real and then we can capture what makes it real. And then once you capture it, then you'll be able to recreate it. So hopefully that made sense. Okay. I think I'm good here. All right. Don't forget to save. Let me get out of the brush, the particle brush, because I think it's going to start getting mad at me. Okay, so now that we're done, it is time to export our files into all of the magic that Substance has so we can use it and plug it into Maya. Over here to the left, we have File, and we can export textures. And over here, we can see that it's going to choose a PBR metallicness, and it's going to choose a PNG. There are other options such as TIFF. PNGs will work just fine. If you're using Unreal or any type of game engine, you probably want to go for Targus. But PNG is fine. I'm going to go to my output template. I'm going to choose AI Standard Arnold. So when we see the list of exports, you can see that it's got the barrel, OBJ, which is our model. You have initial shading group, which could mean anything, and then base colors. So how do we change this initial shading group? Well, let me close this window. Over here to the right, you can see our texture set list. Let's go ahead and double click on this and just change this to barrel shader. So when I go back here to File, Export Textures, and you can see that the initial set group has been changed. And under the list of exports, you'll also notice that we have barrel OBJ, barrel shader, base color. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off emissive here. And I'm going to keep everything else just because I think it's interesting. And let's go ahead and, let's go back to settings. Let's go to global settings. And this time we're going to click on here because this is the area where we get to choose where we're going to export the files. So I am going to go to my barrel source images, and I'm going to just make sure I separate it. This is going to be Substance. Select folder, and let's go ahead and export. Let the magic happen. You can watch what's happening here. Looks like things were successful. That's good. Let's go ahead and take a look. All right, there you go. Some fun textures right here. Color, height, metallic, normal, roughness. All right, let's go into Maya and start assigning the textures to the material. All right, Maya, let's go ahead and assign a new material. We're going to choose our AI standard surface. Over here to the right, we have color. Let's go ahead and click on that little checker, file, folder, and this is my Substance file. So let's go ahead and choose base color. Press the number 6 if you don't see anything. So far, so good. I'm going to create a floor just because it's always nice having something there. I'm just going to compare it. Arnold, let's go to lights, physical sky, so we can just see how it changes when I start plugging things in. Let's go to render. So very similar to the Photoshop tutorial, very glossy. Let's go ahead and attach some other maps. Under roughness right here, let's click on that little checker, file, little folder, and let's grab roughness. Now usually what happens when I press play, it looks like everything's really flat. So what I need to do is go over here to color balance and then choose alpha is luminance. Whoops, so hopefully you can't hear the car alarm going off in the background. So we can see how metallicness is affecting our metal but not our wood, which is awesome. So it's working. That's a big deal. Okay, let's go to metalness right here. We can probably make it a little better by going to file. Oops, let me turn this off before everything explodes. And let me click on this little guy right here. We have a metallic map. Again, I'm going to turn on alpha is luminance. It's giving us an interesting effect. There we go. That's looking really nice. Let's push this a little bit further by adding that normal map. Let's go to geometry. Under bump mapping, we're clicking on that little checker. We're going to go to file as always. We need to change a couple of things here. The first one is use as. Instead of a bump map, we're using a tangent space normals because our Substance exports normals for us, which is great. It does do a height map, which we could potentially use as a bump map. So, you know, just some things to think about. But with normal map, it gives you a little bit more accuracy. So let's go to this little folder and choose normal. Now you're going to get some interesting effects here because there's a couple of other things we have to do, but let's take a look at it as we render. There you go. Now it's looking like it's rising and falling where before it was really dark, but you'll notice that we're getting some really interesting noise in our renders. That's usually because the normal map has RGB and then it's complicated. It has a bunch of calculations to go with it. So Arnold we have to go back into the bump 2D value. So what I did was just click on this little, basically it's a hierarchy. It goes up to one node. And then under Arnold, we just turn off the R and the G. Oops, let me turn this around. And I think I lost my metal. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot one more thing. We need to change this to raw, the file itself. There we go. I'm going to just reset my Arnold render. And it's looking a lot cleaner. It's looking really nice. All right. So that basically covers that. Let's go ahead and duplicate this. And just like we did with the other scene, we're going to put this down on the ground. Make it go like this a little bit, just so it looks cool. And we can kind of show off all of our super hard work for our scene. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like. Let's turn the resolution gate on so we can get a nicer render. Something like this, maybe. I'm going to rotate this. Maybe make this bigger. You know what would be better? Okay, I'm sorry, I'm being really picky. A disc would be better. So rounded corners always make things a little bit better. So there's not a sharp edge. Okay. Render. I think it's a little close. Let me back up a little bit. And there you go. Let me change the light. Oh boy, I'm so picky. Let me just change the light a little bit. Just grabbing the dome and just rotating it a little bit more. Just want to see if I can get. There you go. Some nice shadows. It's kind of like a 45-degree angle to the back. So we can see the nice effect that we have on the metal. We also can see the normal maps are working. You'll notice that, of course, it's a normal map, so it doesn't really impact the silhouette, but we are getting a nice effect at the front. If you wanted this to stick out, you could either do a displacement map, which is a little expensive. I would just extrude it. But I think somebody mentioned before that they wanted this in the number 3. So I'm going to press number 3 and rendered this out again. So there you go, guys. That is how you can use everything that we learned in the previous tutorials in Substance and implement it into Maya. Hopefully you found this tutorial helpful. I definitely enjoyed working on it. So let me know if you guys have any questions, and hopefully you found this useful. Please leave a comment below if you have any questions or if you have any other things that you'd like me to texture. I'm always open to suggestions. And don't forget to take a look at academicphoenixplus.com for free tutorials, free downloads, free ebooks, and so much more. So take a look at academicphoenixplus.com and please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it if you do. It encourages me to create more tutorials because I think people are enjoying them, learning from them, and another thing would be amazing is if you could tag your work. Anything that you create using my tutorials and you tag me in social media, I'd be super excited. I always love that. So feel free to tag me if you're sharing your work on social media. So again, thank you so much for being with me as we go through this tutorial, and and keep creating. Thanks again, and I will see you next time.